Welcome to Exploring Shalann's personal folder in her Google Drive. This is my personal folder. This is where I put random crap that doesn't belong anywhere else. And that's what we're doing today. So let's just dive right in, shall we? We have 4 folders in here. We have projects, personal, finance, and comics. And then we have some loose stuff that I never filed for who knows what reason. The first one I have is a poetry album, which I think I made this year when I was in Ireland, because I wanted to write a poem. So I wrote a poem. So this is a poem I wrote. Are you ready? I'm gonna get in real close. Tethered to the source, individually coexisting, they override the sound of my own thoughts. Let me borrow from someone else. I don't care what pumps through them, as long as it is noise. I'm not alone, as long as you are here, as long as I can hear. I don't ever have to be alone with myself. And that was all. It's about headphones. This is one of my favorite notes in my Google Drive. It's entitled Hi Shalann. So I was doing some studying on my really old computer, and you usually use, and I noticed you hadn't logged off. I decided that I would leave you an encouraging message. Here we go. You've got this shit, girl. I don't know what the hell you're doing, but it doesn't matter. You are a smart, driven, educated woman. There is nothing that can stop you from achieving anything. Well, maybe except for your height. In any case, you got this. I support you. Go, go, go. And there you have it. Robert signing off. Robert Lined, a.k.a. God. It's good to know you haven't changed at all, Robert.
What?
Don't worry about it. You'll watch the video later. The last thing in here is Forest Fenn's treasure, which has actually been found. This was a guy who had a lot of really valuable things, who decided to make a buried treasure and write a poem that would lead you to it, and he buried it in the Rocky Mountains somewhere, and it was found this year. And I'm really disappointed because I wanted to find it, but also you probably had to hike, so maybe I didn't want to find it. Let's go into projects. What do we have? Oh, these were ideas that I was pitching to my friend Evan for films that we could make. Interesting. I'm not going to go into it because we never actually made any of them, so they probably weren't that good. I have no idea what that is. I think it's a generic one, so I'm going to delete that. Nonfiction projects, which is a YouTube study. I made this for Anthony and Hannah. Did you guys ever actually look at it? It's a PowerPoint about what living in Loveland is like, and now nobody lives there. So that's sad. I don't know why I made this, but I did, and it was fun. So I'm gonna keep that forever. Comedy. This was me trying out stand-up comedy. Tell me if it's funny or not. Oh no, it's not funny. I'm not gonna read this either. I have a YouTube study here. Analysis of YouTube from a fangirl. This was just an essay that I wrote for, shits and gigs. Really. Oh no, this was a story. Her name was Crystal, but you can call me Chris. Chrys. What else do we have? We have How the Bathroom is a Religion. This was about my screenplay that I thought would be really cool to mostly take place in a bathroom. And I still think it's a good idea. I just don't know if it's a good enough idea to pursue. I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of come to Jesus moments in the bathroom, a lot of epiphanies, whether it's in the shower, on the toilet, looking at myself, talking to myself. I don't know. I like the idea of exploring the bathroom as a storytelling medium. Maybe that's weird. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I think. So there. This was a story that Robert and I were going to write together about different. It was basically like a magic system, I think. We were basically just world building and spitballing, but I'm definitely gonna keep this. I mean, it was super fun, and we might come back to it one day. You never know. That one night at Anthony and Hannah's house, we talked about, wow, what if we had a mafia and what we would do? And I wrote it all down because I thought it was hilarious. Junkyard, who was in charge of auto and burglary crimes. Patriot, who was cyber and information. Mailman, who is the white-collar embezzlement money guy. Shepherd, who does prostitution and drugs. And we have Big Daddy, debt collector and payment enforcement. And then I started writing the screenplay for it. Exterior, dawn, car, junkyard. The yard is full of cars stacked high. It is misty as it has just rained. A character steps through the puddle and the mud, searching among the corpses of Toyota BMWs and older cars left to rot. Interior, midday, hotel. Shepard is in her executive office, and she is the GM of the hotel and is looking over paperwork when her assistant knocks on her door. She looks up and motions her in. She comes in and tells Shepard the schedule for the hotel and what the capacity is for normal guests and guests with upgrades. The hotel is at full capacity. Shepard smiles and reaches down to make a call. Interior, night, law firm. Mailman is in a large office on top of a skyscraper. He has 2 people in his office across from his large mahogany desk. His laptop also on the desk, and he's looking at notes, but he is actually watching his favorite game, Tournament Esports. He nods and speaks to the people in front of him without really looking at them. He's too important to really need to. One of the people says something that sparks his attention, and he looks up sharply, dismayed. Interior, night. Bedroom. Patriot paces back and forth while looking at his many screens mounted to the wall occasionally. There are multiple things happening on each one. The screen in the middle shows a green, complete screen. He stops pacing and looks at the screen, hands in his pockets, white hat on. He smiles. Exterior, morning, city street. A man leaves a generic suburban home and gets into a generic suburban SUV. A black car follows him all the way to his office building. He gets out and starts to walk in when a large man grabs his arm and pulls him into the black car. A small girl, who looks like a dark fairy, leans her chin casually on a baseball bat as she watches the generic man struggle. She smiles at him. She welcomes him and tells him she had hoped it would be longer since she saw him again. He splutters out excuses. She just smiles before gripping her bat and knocking him out. Interior, night, mystery location. Jenny, wife of the generic man, nervously clutches at her bag as there is a pit of alligators slowly circling the conference room around. Nobody has asked her anything. There are 5 empty chairs. Her back is to the door. She does everything she can to stop herself from looking backwards, yet she feels exposed. Interior, night, mailman in Big Daddy's home. A nice 3-story home on a lake, nothing overly gaudy, but very comfortable. Mailman is making food in the kitchen, slicing some food probably. The garage opens, and Big Daddy comes in a cute skirt and blouse. She comes up and hugs Mailman around the waist, compliments on his cooking. He turns around and he hugs her, looks at her face, and wipes away a drop of blood on her cheek. Have a good day? It was a good day. And you? He says good. Daddy goes off to get cleaned up before dinner. This is a cat prompt. So one day I was bored at work and I was like, Robert, give me a prompt and I'll write about it. And he was like, finding a cat. And this was a little story I wrote about finding a cat. But we're looking at poems now. Robert, pick a number between 1 and 4.
17.
1 and 4.
4.
4. I'm gonna... Oh, this wasn't mine. Pick one between 1 and 3, sorry.
1 and 3?
1 and 3.
2.
2. I will read you this poem. It's not a poem. I don't know what it is. It's about a girl who's at a train. That's fine. High school cringe. Are you ready? This is the good stuff. There's some poems in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pick 2 numbers between 1 and 12.
6.
6. We'll do 6 and 7. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a poem called Merry-Go-Rounds. I wrote it for a creative writing class. 3 years. 3 years on this merry-go-round, the merry always being followed by the unmerry. You were the stick that I threw away, as hard as far as I could. But what I thought a stick turned into a boomerang and struck me not in the head or ass, but in my heart. It came back stronger and harder than I could have imagined. You consumed every other thought and every other dream. And I hate you now. I really do. I hate that you came back after I thought the ride was over, when it turns out I missed the exit and now I'm stuck on this merry-go-round amidst the sharks and dolphins and narwhals. Now, I know it's stupid, but when I stand next to you, all I can think is about how good you smell. So there you go. There's some high school cringe for you. And family genealogy. This is some research I've been doing into my family tree. Found my father's youngest sister's death certificate and found out where she was buried because she died when she was like 5. And so we found out a little bit about that. My father's father, his death certificate. And he was struck at 2:30 in the morning on a highway, and nobody knows why he was there, so it's a little sus, but like, why was he crossing this highway at 2:30 in the morning? And was it intentional? Was he murdered? Nobody knows. And the last thing is in here is comics, because my boss sent me some comics that he was reading. It's an alternate world where a Harry Potter-like character comes out of the book and comes into our world. And that was a tour of my personal folder in my Google Drive, probably the most interesting folder in my Google Drive. And I hope you guys had some fun, because it was fun to film and look at all that old cringy stuff. Thanks for doing this project with me, guys. I'm having a blast. Till next time.